Good morning, students. I am Dr.R.SUGANYA, Department of Computer Science with Cybersecurity. Today we are going to see about the concepts in C programming, that is error handling during input-output operations. So in C programming, how we can handle errors? So it is possible that an error may occur during input-output operations as on file. Typical error handling situation includes like trying to read beyond end of the file, the first thing. The second thing, it can be like a device overflow which like occurs due to lack of memory. The third that we can see like trying to use file that has not been opened. Fourth one, trying to perform an operations on a file when the file opened for another type of operations. The fifth one, opening a file with an invalid file name. Sixth, attempting to write protect files. So these are some possible way of error while input output operations in the file. So how we can handle this file? So if we fail to check such read and write errors, a program may behave abnormally when an error occurs. An unchecked error may result in a premature termination of the program or incorrect output. So like library functions like f end of file functions and f error that can help us to detect input output errors. So error handling during input output operations. The f EOF that function can be used to test for an end of file condition. It takes a file pointer as its only argument. The f end of file function returns a non-zero value if the end of file indicator is set, otherwise it returns 0. If file end of file pointer, then end of data. F error function reports the status of the file indicated. It also takes a file pointer as its argument and returns a non-zero integer if an error has been detected and returns 0. Otherwise, if error file pointer is not equal to 0, then an error has been occurred. So here we can see the F error function, that is it takes a file pointer, that is FP here. FP means it is a file pointer, so it is one of the argument. It returns non-zero integer if an error has been detected. Okay, so if it is not, then it returns 0 otherwise. So if error is file pointer is not equal to 0, then error has occurred. Okay, so null pointer, we know file is opened using fopen function. A file pointer is returned, and if the file cannot be opened for some reason, then the function returns a null pointer. And this facility can be used to test whether a file has been opened or not. If file pointer is equal to null, then file could not be opened. So error handling during input output operations. File star of file pointer. If file of end of file is equal to 0, means if it is not equal to 0 means it is end of file. If it is equal to 0, then it is not the end of the file. So this is the concept. So here file is a keyword, star fp is a file pointer. So if the file is equal to 0 means it is not still end of the file. If it is not equal to 0 means the file came to end. So here if f error is file pointer is equal to 0, then still it is been reading. If error of file pointer is not equal to 0, then it is having some error. Okay, so this is the concept. So here we have a small program. So here, so the C programming always starts with hash include, standard input output header files, and conio.h, console input output, and main functions, and we have declared the file pointer with the keyword file, and we have the character data type which has a read with array of 20, and f file pointers, that is f open function which has text to read so a file open to read the particular data. So R means the file modes, that is reading. Okay, so f get s is getting particular string, that is reading the 15th position of the file pointer. So data is read. So if the file of pointer is not equal to 0, it is end of file. And if it is equal to 0, it is success, and we are closing the file pointer. So the data I read is 31993. So what is the file pointer that we have read is end of the file, and it is success. So as we have it is equal to 0, then we are going to print is read success. Okay, so this is what the program summary. So here it is possible that an error may occur during input output operations on a file. Trying to read beyond the end of the file, device overflow, trying to use file that has not been opened, trying to perform an operations on a file when the file is opened for another type of operations, opening a file with an invalid file name, attempting to write protected files. File functions and file error are used to detect the errors during the file processing. So these are the keywords like errors, null, file pointer, end of the file, and so here are multiple choice questions that you can go through, and there are some to do list programs so that you can read it. Next, I will see about random access to file.